Now that I have this tank aquascaped basically the way I want it, I can see that the leaves of the plants and the decorations are covered in some sort of small, spotty, brown type algae. I'll dose the tank with hydrogen peroxide, give it a day or two, and if it didn't work, increase the dose, try again, however many times it takes to eradicate the algae without harming the plants. I did a bit of research on the internet and found that in the case of blue-green algae, you want to use 6 milliliters to 11 milliliters of 3% hydrogen peroxide per 10 gallons. And in the case of green algae, it's 19 to 27 milliliters of 3% hydrogen peroxide per 10 gallons of water. Well, it's difficult to know how many gallons of water are in the 10 gallon because I have oddly shaped pieces of driftwood and an indeterminate amount of substrate in the tank. So I want to start with the most dilute solution recommended. That would be 6 milliliters per 10 gallon. I don't think I can go wrong there. So the syringe of sorts won't reach into this bottle, so I've already poured some hydrogen peroxide into the small bottle. The syringe holds up to about 1 milliliter, so there's 1, 6. Now, I don't want to just pour this directly into the tank, so I've already taken some tank water and put it in this container. So I add the hydrogen peroxide to that. Looking on the graduate on the side of this little cap. The cap reads just over 5 milliliters, so should be correct. Now, I get all of that into the tank water to add to the tank. Hydrogen peroxide destroys beneficial bacteria, so I'm going to leave the hang on the back filter off for at least an hour after adding this, and I want to dump it evenly throughout the tank, and then give it a good stir to get it distributed evenly about the tank. 24 hours later, and after the first treatment, I notice a marked decrease in the amount of brown spot type algae on the leaves of these plants. Now, by this time, all of the hydrogen peroxide is broken down into water and oxygen. So it shouldn't hurt the plants to do another treatment at this time, and this time I'd like to increase the dose from 6 milliliters to 7. Here's a look at the tank about 20 hours later, and I'm very impressed with how well the hydrogen peroxide took care of the brown spot algae problem. I expected the algae to turn gray or white as it died, but it didn't seem to change in color at all, and a few squirts with a turkey baster blew it right off the leaves. I've gone ahead and trimmed most of the melted leaves off of my broadleaf Sagittaria in the lower left. I hope it survives transition to this tank. I don't believe hydrogen peroxide hurt it at all. I think just moving it into this tank caused most of the leaves to melt. But there is new growth in the center, so I'm hoping it'll make a comeback. For the second week, the nitrites and nitrates are 0. So I believe this tank has already gone through the nitrogen cycle. I added a bit of fish food to the tank early on to give the beneficial bacteria something to consume. Here on the top you can see I have various pieces of clear plastic and just a thin strip of blue plastic to block some of the bright light from the LED. And I think as far as stocking this tank, what I'd like to do is remove my 4 White Cloud Mountain minnows and my 2 Amano shrimp from my other planted aquarium and put them into this tank. But before I do so, I'm going to have to clog or stop up all of the spaces in the glass canopy where Amano shrimp might be able to escape. I broke up a comb and used hot glue to put the pieces in about the hang on the back filter, and also used some plastic tack to plug up holes. So now it would be very difficult for an Amano shrimp to escape from this tank. Here's a look at the tank now that I put the animals in. The shrimp are climbing around on the driftwood and the white clouds are colored up. I think this will work out quite well.